Good morning. Welcome back to another episode here with me. You're listening to Be the Change with Valerie Atkinson. Again, I want to remind you this podcast is for self help. And today's podcast, we'll be discussing about forgiveness and what is forgiveness. Make sure you also subscribe on your favorite podcast. Follow me on all social media platforms if you haven't done so yet, as I will be loading more content within the next couple of weeks. Again, welcome back. So, I just want to remind you, I am your host, Valerie Atkinson, and let's get this started. I hope everybody's doing good. I hope you have your coffee or you're driving to work as we are talking about this with you today. So, what is forgiveness? I think a lot of us don't know what forgiveness truly means, or what it feels like, or how it goes to be, right, for anybody that goes into friends, love, relationship, and all that beautiful aspect of life, or let's just call it nature of life, right? So what is the difference from forgiveness and saying apologies and, maybe making amends? I think for me, what stood out from all the relationships that I've had in my past timings, and I call them past timings because they are no longer me. Those are obviously events that happen, and I've already learned to let those situation things and people go. So I actually had something come up recently, and which really made me reflect on a lot of things. So forgiveness is, when you know that someone did something to you that was hurtful, that made you feel some type of way. It could have carried a wound. It could have carried a trigger, a response, an emotional reaction, right? You have to capture what these feelings and emotions are. We are human. We're going to feel every single sense that you could think of, So the difference between that is like making amends or reconciling with someone is, you accepting that they did something wrong and you're okay with moving forward, right? Versus forgiveness is where two people, maybe one didn't understand or the other one did understand, or maybe both of them just didn't understand their languages of communication, or the message was misinterpreted, or maybe someone didn't understand what they did wrong, and that is where forgiveness comes in, right? Because you can't blame or point fingers at someone who did something to you or made you feel some type of way, because they won't know that they did something wrong to you. Otherwise, you would have to speak up for yourself, right? So you have to explore all the perspectives and forgiveness. I can go on and on and on, but I'm not here to sit here and bore you. I'm only here to get to the key things that will hopefully help you throughout your journey and reflect on the things that you need to grow. So I want to talk about something that happened I would say about a week or 2 weeks ago, more or less. So I was at the gym, and of course, me and a friend were really close. And when I say close, we talk a lot about our family, our kids, and he knows a lot about my, what's been going on with me, my last relationship, and how I've been single and not dating anybody and just kind of doing me. And every time that we do talk to each other, he always reminds me like, "Oh my gosh, you're looking great." I mean, obviously we're running into each other at the gym every day. He also looks very great, by the way. He's very attractive. He's very masculine. He's very approachable. He's just such a ball of fire. He's very funny. He's very outgoing, a very social person. He loves to talk to, not just me, but everybody at the gym. I think everybody pretty much knows him. And so I don't know if I said his name or not, but me and my friends, I'm going to call him my friends because, again, I want to keep privacy for him because, again, maybe his friends are going to listen to this, and I just want him to feel like I'm protecting him as well as I'm protecting myself. So moving forward. So as I was saying, I was working out. Of course, I'm looking great. Of course, I'm wearing my shorts. I remember that day I was wearing like a shorts and like a very fitted, like dry fit long sleeve with it as well. I mean, I wasn't really showing much skin, very little, because it was a crop top, but it was just minimal to the point where I wasn't showing like cleavage or nothing. It was just everything was fitted, right? Or it's starting to feel fitted. Mind you, we were right next to each other that day. He was with his friend working out. So, anyways, I finished my set, and I don't know what made me turn that way. And he's like, "Oh, that's your song." And, he plays around a lot. So I took it as that. So I said, "What song?" And I believe there was a song playing in the background because I had my headphones on. So I had to take them off. And he's just like, "That song." So I listened to it. I was like, "Oh, yes, I know that I'm sexy." But that's me being sexy is a sense, like, I think my ego spoke up for itself at that point, right? Like, who doesn't mind getting a nice compliment, right? So anyhow, I walk off. I didn't see, but I felt someone just smack my butt, right? So I turn around. Of course, he's walking right by me as that happened. So I was like, okay, who else could it be if it was him? So I approach him. I walk up to him. I was a little upset. I was like, why did you do that? So he goes near his friend. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, why did you do that? He's like, I couldn't help myself. And I was like, oh my God, like my heart was going at 1,000 miles per hour because one, I felt some type of way because I had that trust with you and you just kind of like broke it because I felt like I didn't see it that way with him. Like if anything, my intentions were with him were very open, but in a sense where you're my friend, right? So, mind you, we're not dating, we're not talking, none of that, guys. We're not even, none of that, right? Just throw that out the window. But I really do care for him. I've grown to know him, I've grown to see him the way that I've seen him, but that day kind of just made me kind of like, everything that I looked up to just kind of disappeared in that moment, just like that. So anyways, I confront him and I said, why would you ever do that to me? And he's like freaking out. And he's like, I'm sorry. I was like, no. I was like, that's disrespectful. I was like, who do you pretend me to be? So he's in shock. His friend's laughing. Mind you, I'm just like processing everything. And I'm like, I could feel like my heart slashing at him. And I just kept repeating myself over and over. And he's like, okay, Val, you're getting upset. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I was like, you're right. I was like, just don't ever do that again to me. And then again, he apologized. I walked off pissed off. I went onto the treadmill and I just blew off my steam there. Obviously, I knew something was wrong because, especially with me, because that made me feel some type of way. So I went home and and obviously I was angry, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. I was angry. I was upset. I was disappointed because I felt at that point like, am I just a sex icon? Like, or am I just a thing, right? So anyways, back to it. I go home, I journal, and I pretty much clarify for myself that I did the right thing. I know that I did the right thing. Obviously, I got a little angry. That was me being furious with my emotions because I could not understand what was really deep inside of me in that moment. Why did I cause to react that way? So I journaled about this moment, right? I journaled about how he did that, and I'm not that version of myself. I was like, I'm not her. I'm not going to disrespect my body. I'm not going to disrespect who I am as a person. The woman that I'm trying to be now is not that. I'm not just a people pleaser. I'm not just an attention seeker. I am not needing validation from a man who doesn't respect my integrity and full vulnerability and accountability. So I knew at that point I stood my ground because I wasn't going to allow this friend of mine to disrespect me in any shape, way, or form. So I journaled deeply about it. And of course, I apologized to myself and I forgave myself for obviously getting upset with the other person and just letting it go. I was like, if this person didn't see my value or worth or any sense of clarity, then I shall not be with this person. I shall not continue this friendship. I shall not. Okay. So, as soon as I finished journaling this, I blocked him from my phone contacts. But then something within those minutes, I said, wait a minute, Val, wait a minute. What is this trying to teach you? What is this trying to teach you? Why are you running away from your feelings and why are you blocking him? That is not the way to go. In the past, that's exactly what we would do. We would run from our feelings. We would block people. We wouldn't confront the situation. Obviously, in this moment, I had already confronted the situation respectfully, right? Not blaming or shaming or disrespecting or judging anybody, because I did not do that. I just simply stated what I needed to say at that point, and that was that. The only thing I did say to him was like, how would you have liked it if I, touched your, what, or anything like that in the gym? He just kind of looked at me. He didn't say anything, but his friend made a comment like, oh, that would be nice. And I looked at him like, you must be crazy, right? In my mind, I can't think like men right now because men are men, right? So at that point, I'll say, you know what? That's it. I don't even want clarity in the situation because obviously his friend's there. I don't know if he's just trying to act a certain way because your friend's there, but he just couldn't find the words in that moment. And that's fine. Like, I shouldn't have needed an answer at that point. But going back to, sorry, I went off track. So I realized, okay, what is this teaching me, right? So I go back into my phone contacts and I said, okay, we're going to unblock him. This is not the way to go. This is not the life that I want, where I continuously have to block people, where I continuously don't allow room for growth, right? I was like, if he is self-aware and he understands what he did was wrong, he should be able to come in and say what he needs to say from when he's ready to say what he needs to say, right? Because I cannot control what he did or his actions or do anything to change his mind or trajectory of what he's done. He should be aware of what he did wrong and what he should have done right, right? And again, I'm not a teacher. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a, any of that sort, but I'm learning myself what to do moving forward and what I should not do. So, and then I realized, okay, so let's do that. Go on. Obviously, I'm going to keep running into him because he goes to the same gym. In my thoughts, I was like, oh my God, here I go again. I'm going to have to change gyms. This is awkward. Yes, I ran into him a couple of times throughout the week, and I felt a sense of anxiety, y'all. I swear to you, it almost felt like I was so angry at him. So I was just like trying to avoid him. I would go to a different spot. I think the very next day, he was kind of like, and I felt, I'm not going to lie. One day I dressed in a long t-shirt. I covered my, my body parts because I don't want people to see. And I was wearing long leggings. I was literally covered and I looked like nothing. Like my hair was a mess. I went to the gym feeling some type of way. I don't know, it just felt ugly. I felt ugly. And I was angry. And I even think throughout this week I had journaled about why I fear intimacy. Like obviously, a lot of the things came up about my past relationships. I never really had a healthy relationship. And that goes with friends, especially guy friends or male friends. I'm not going to get into that part because that's not the part that I want to get to. What I'm getting to is why forgiveness is important. So that day, I felt him just like staring at me like he wanted to say something, but I just kept feeling the anxiety of anger. So I said, you know what, I gotta go. So anyways, I almost wanted to cry too because I could feel his feelings and I could feel my feelings. And it just felt like, obviously, there's something more into it. So I ended up leaving the gym that day. And I realized, like, okay, just let go already, Val. Just let go. What are you so mad about? What are you trying to prove? There's nothing to prove to this man. There's nothing to say. You've already said what you said. You need to let it go. So I kid you not, the next day I said, you know what? Today's day one again. We're starting fresh. We're still going to focus on Val. We're going to continue doing what we have been doing. We're not going to get off track. We had been doing great. Morning meditations, journaling, doing my affirmations, getting grounded, getting up in the morning, doing the same routine that I have been doing as far as my skincare and everything that goes along with it. So I knew that I still had to nurture her. I still have to care for her. I still have to give her that love. I still have to care for her needs. And I realized, like, oh my gosh, like, this is what I need. This is what I need. Because at the end of the day, no matter what happens, life's going to happen to all of us, okay? And I'm not saying just because what happened with my friend's going to happen to you. No, what I'm saying is you have to capture the moment that this is a part of your destiny. And for me, it so happened to be with him. It happened with him, my friend. So a few days go by. Obviously, this time I'm walking into the gym. He pulls up. I hear this loud freaking motorcycle, and I look because I'm like, damn, who is that, right? He goes in a circle. I think this is going to lay it out for everybody. Everybody's going to know who this is at this point. And he pulls up. Anyways, I go to my gym. I get in. I looked at him, and I felt like my heart dropped at that point. And I felt like, why do I feel this way? Could this be that he is like a soulmate? Like, we're meant to teach each other things. Like, it's very platonic. Like, we don't do anything, y'all. Like, let me tell you, like, we just talk and we just bond in such a way that I haven't bonded with the male in such a long time. And the fact that I set standards for myself through this journey, I feel some type of way about him, because it's like I've learned to love myself and respect myself, but also hold myself accountable onto this person, right? And growing. It's crazy, because he's the complete opposite of that. He's the complete opposite of that. It's just like he's a bad boy, you know. He's talked a lot about what he's done and how he's gone through what he's gone through. He has his own business, and he has, like, you know, I believe 3 kids from what he's showed me. And it's like, I can see why he is the way he is. And he's talked a lot about his childhood. And it is like, I can see why he is the way he is, but I can't judge him. I can't say anything. So I just observe now. So I remember him going in, and I just was like, oh my God, I hope I don't run into him. Obviously, we just saw that we're going to run into each other, girl. I just saw him go inside. And I don't know if God or the universe is orchestrating this, but tell me why, as I'm walking to the place where he did the thing, he literally, him and I, in the same spot, just like bumped into each other. And he says something, because I have my headphones, and then I looked at him. I go, what? And so he's like, hey, he's like, I need to talk to you. And I was just like, oh God, here we go. I was like, you know what? Just let him talk, Val. Just let him talk. So anyways, I'm listening, right? So he tells me, I'm so sorry. And I was like, yeah. And then he's just like, I wanted to text you, but something called me to, you know, tell you in person. And I've been wanting to text you, and it's just something that, you know, it's been within me and it's been building inside of me. And I just wanted to say I'm sorry. And I said, yeah. I was like, I was a little hurt. I was like, I was upset. I was like, because of what happened. But, you know, I'm glad that you gave me the space that I needed to kind of just let it go, right? Because I was like, I needed that. And I was like, and I needed that space to kind of clarify myself there in that instance. And I appreciate you doing that and respecting that. And obviously, he said a lot of things like, I didn't know that those were your intentions. I didn't see that you're not a girl. He's like, you're obviously a woman. You have a lot of respect and value, and I see you even more valuable because of what you did that day. He's like, honestly, like, I really enjoy talking to you. I really like you. And, you know, he's like, he went on and on, right? And I was like, you know what? This is exactly what I needed. someone to take vulnerability and accountability and who's self-aware of their actions, because he pretty much laid it out to me. Like, the things he said were word for word verbatim. He was sorry for what he had done. Obviously, he said, "You are very attractive." He's like, "Don't get me wrong." He's like, "But I understand where I should have set boundaries, and you set boundaries that day." He's like, "So I appreciate you doing that." You know, and I have to say it for all my ladies out there. And that's not to disrespect or defame a man, because men are men. They can't help themselves, ladies. But the only way we can respect ourselves is by putting boundaries and standards. You set the tone for every little thing that you do. And that day, I felt like I needed to set the tone. It was time. I had been devaluing myself for the longest time, y'all. And I was just tired. And that had to happen that day. And I'm just grateful that he put this person into my life. And I'm grateful that he's still in my life, because we forgave each other. We definitely, like, said, our apologies. And, he's like, I'll let you go do your workout. We hugged, and that was that, right? That was that. So I want to give you the step-by-steps to learn to forgive. Always self-reflect. You heard what I just said. He gave me that time, and I gave myself that time because I needed that space to really think about what I wanted and what I did was right or wrong. Obviously, I know where I was upset, and I had to learn to control my emotions, but I had to learn to let go. And that's the key. Let go. Don't bottle up what you feel inside. Don't go telling, your best friend, because at that point, I didn't tell anybody but my safe space, which is the community that I'm in. And I reflected. So I'm so proud of myself. Journaling has helped me a lot to understand what Val needs and what she did not see from the beginning. Because we need to be self-aware too, guys. I knew I was not self-aware back then because I wasn't respecting myself. I wasn't giving myself boundaries. I just did not do that for myself. That's why things happened for a reason. Like, I kept attracting the same people because I just couldn't do what the biggest thing was, is to say no and stand up for myself. And doing that and having empathy for yourself and for others, right? Because you have to also understand it's not just one person, it's another person too. So I knew that I had to listen to him and what he had to say and just empathize with both of us. I am so glad that this happened, and I'm so grateful for him. And if you're listening to this, thank you so much. You mean the world to me, because you came at the right time, and I needed that. I needed someone who could understand and who could just be themselves around me. And that's all I ever wanted. I never asked for a perfect person because I am not perfect. And I want to let you guys know that it's very important that forgiveness takes place for you to learn to heal relationships with friends, family, loved ones. I'm not saying that my story is going to be exactly like yours, but I'm giving you a story so you can see the difference and how you can see past those hurdles and move forward. And I'm not saying that every person's going to forgive you like the way that mine forgave me. Every forgiveness comes when it's time. But letting go is the key thing for the thing to show up for itself. If it's meant for you or if it's no longer going to be part of what you are doing now. Sometimes people are not going to do the thing that you want them to do. The only thing you can do is let go and forgive the person. And even if this person cannot forgive you in person or through a text or a phone call, journal about it. Send a forgiveness letter to yourself and to that person. Because if not, you're going to be carrying this on to the next relationship, into the next relationship, into the next friendship, the next family member, blah, 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 blah. It's going to continue doing that. It's going to continue doing that. And I can see where I did this with a lot of my male friends and why I lost a lot of them, right? And this is just a beautiful beginning. I needed to grow, and this was growth for me. So I want to thank you guys again for tuning back in with me here. would be the change with Valerie Atkinson. I also wanted to let you guys know I will be changing the title to my podcast. It's going to be the Woman Pod now. I just came to conclusion like I need to help women. I need to help them realize what they need in order to understand that they have a best friend, a mother, a bestie, a friend, anything. I'm here for you. I feel like I need to call in all my women who need people like me to show them the way to their success, to their beautiful destination. The beautiful thing is that I'm getting to that destination, and it's gorgeous and it's amazing and it's just so empowering. And I'm here to tell you that you're not alone. So please don't feel any way. Just be open for the change. Be open for the new things to come, my love. And I want to thank you guys again. Please don't feel free to share any comments, anything that you want me to talk about on the next podcast. I'm open to it. And hopefully I can get my friend on one of these podcasts. I'm excited because he's an amazing person. And he said, yeah, I'll be down. So you'll meet him soon. Anyways, I want to say thank you again. I appreciate every single one of you that took the time to listen to me today throughout the message, or maybe in between the message. I know it was a long segment for today, but thank you very much. And I'll see you guys next time.